This conference will now be recorded.
I hope the screen is visible now. All right. So today we will be discussing about topics related to yesterday's topic, that is storage classes and program segments. So yesterday we discussed about storage classes like static. So we discussed what is the difference between local variable and static local variable. We also discussed briefly about the difference between global variable and static global variable. So maybe I'll summarize that topic today. We'll also discuss about usage of extern keyword, which is an important topic. Then we'll move on to other point related problems which are generic in nature. Then finally, if time allows us, I'll try to explain what is void pointer and function pointer. So as per the original schedule, I was supposed to have a workshop on how we can use function pointers to create generic functions. Maybe I'll take up the topic tomorrow so that we can cover a good number of basically interrelated topics. That's the idea here. So people are joining. I'll wait for a minute or so. Before that, maybe I just wanted to check with you and maybe discuss regarding yesterday's quiz, which many of you have taken. So how was the quiz? Was it easy, difficult, or average? What do you think? Okay, Nasruddin says, Shivraj says it's easy. Okay, Sushant says it was tricky. Sujit Gautam says it was a little tricky. Okay, Asha says it was a little tricky. So I just want to know basically how was the difficulty level in terms of whether you are confident in answering. Shweta says so many answers for a question. Yeah, that's why I think it was tricky, right? Shashank says it was concept based. True, it was concept based. I didn't ask any programming questions. Okay, Vikram, sir, I got 1 mark. Okay, easy, but so many options. That's why it's not easy. Okay, if it was easy, then you can answer it with confidence, right? Questions are based on previous session. Yeah, true. So that is the idea. The quiz idea of keeping the quiz is to check whether you attended the classes and you are paying attention to what I'm saying. Can everybody mute? Yeah. So idea of basically keeping this quiz is to have a checkpoint on the topics which are already covered in the interview prep session. It is not going to be a generic quiz. Winners will be announced in Instagram and social media. I'll let you know once it's announced. So typically top around 10 candidates we are picking up for the winners. So we'll announce the winners maybe by end of day. Narendra Kumar, easy, but there it was mentioned as 2 points. They asked, I choose only 2 answers after. See the points, don't look at the points. So points doesn't mean only 2 correct answers will be there. It's a checkbox based thing. For example, all 4 answers could be correct also. Maybe I'll discuss the quiz here, the solutions for the quiz. I think you also saw the answers. But just in case you are not clear, I'll quickly walk through those questions, and if you want to clarify anything, you can ask doubts. Other thing I just wanted to inform you is that okay, this you can take up the quiz only once. That's what we have made it. I've seen people attending the quiz multiple times. If it's for the sake of knowledge, it's okay. but not that you can expect to be a winner. I've seen somebody taking 4 times and somebody got 16 out of 16 also. So for the sake of learning, it's good, not for the sake of getting the first prize. I know people are keen to get prizes here. So let me open the quiz questions. Another thing just I wanted to check with you is, okay, maybe I'll ask after discussing the answers. So we got around 92 response, which I was a little concerned about because more than 150 people attended the session, but not everybody has taken the quiz. Any reason why some of you have not taken the quiz? Are you afraid of taking the quiz, or you feel it's not important to take up the quiz? So please ensure that you take up the quiz. Don't take things lightly. It will help you to basically know where you stand and whether you understood the topics or not. That is the intention of having this quiz. So let me walk through the solutions. All right. So this is the average score. If you look at the average score, it is less than half the score, right? 16 points out of 16 points, average score is 6.38, which is not good, I would say. And if you look at the points distribution, you can see here it's evenly spread across, right? You can see some people have scored 1, right? 9 of them, like I would say 10% of the people have scored 1, right? Some have scored 8, some have scored 5, 3 out of 92, 5 people have scored 3. So it's kind of like spread across. Some have scored 8, which is like 50%, right? I can see people even scoring 9, 10, 12, 13 also. Okay. So the higher numbers are not correct because it's on second attempt. Some people tried multiple times. 16 and 14 is for the second attempt. So let's have a look at the answers here. Let me discuss the answers. If somebody is on mic, can you be on mute? I'm not sure who is that. Hello? Father? All right. So here you can see the first question. The first question was, what is true about register variables? So in this, 3 options were given. So first option was register variables are stored in CPU register. All right, so that is the correct answer. And then you have 5 choices out of 5, 3 was correct. So register variables are stored in CPU register is correct. Global variables can be declared as register. That's not true, right? Only local variables can be stored as register variables. Then they do not have address. Yeah, register variables, since they are stored inside the CPU, they do not have address. CPU cannot be accessed, CPU registers cannot be accessed using its address. They don't have address, in fact. They are stored in cache. This is also not true, right? Cache is a different memory location. Last one, they improve the execution speed as register access is faster. So you can see the distribution here, like how many people were able to answer correctly. So these are the correct answers. Now, the second question was, which order is correct in terms of memory access speed? I think majority of the people got it right. CPU is the fastest, then comes cache, then comes RAM. If you have any question, you can post it in the chat window. Let me know. Okay. So you can see the responses here. Good number of people answered correctly. Third question. Which keyword limits the scope of a function to current file? All right, maybe I did not cover this topic, but I think many of you got the answer right. So functions, similar to global variables, we can declare functions as static also. So when you declare or define a function as static, what does it mean? What are we restricting? We are restricting the scope of the function. So if you define a function to be static, it means you want to access that function only inside that file. You do not want other files to access that function. So it's kind of private to that file. So we will discuss maybe more on static keyword today. So with an example, we'll see. Yeah, Tapan, you're right. We can't access in other files. Static functions cannot be accessed in other files. The next question is, which among these are true with respect to compilation? So first choice was, or first option was stages of compilation, the order of compilation, right? First is pre-processing, then comes compilation, then comes assembly, then comes linking. So often these type of choices I give because they are very obvious, but it will make you remember that, okay, this is what it is, right? So that you are able to recall the answers. So stages of compilation is correct. Second one, GCC -O generates object code. -O does not generate object code. Can somebody tell me what is -O stand for? What is the use of -O option in GCC? Karthik says rename. Output file says, yeah, Badrikesh. Surabhi, yeah, rename. So output file name, to name the output file name. So -O is used to give a name for the output file name. For example, in case of an executable, if we do not pass any option, GCC generates a file name called as a.out. So how do you change the executable file name? You can give the option GCC -O and the file name which you want to create, right? That's what -O is. I hope you are aware of this. Meghamala says binary file. Okay, it's not actually binary file. It is about output file name. Okay, you need to understand this. So I'll explain maybe this with an example. Okay, so GCC option, GCC, you have GCC and a file.c. So what does this generate by default? So this command will generate a.out. Right, we know this. What if we do this? GCC GCC file.c -O something called as out.exe. So if you look at the second command, we are given an option called as -O out.exe. So this means we want to generate a file with the name out.exe. You can also do this. Okay, so you can say GCC, right? We can use GCC. What is the use of -S option? Can somebody tell me? What does -S do? Yeah, -S is used to generate assembly code. Narendra, Nasruddin, Reshma, yeah, Asha, you're all right. So -S is used to generate assembly code. So what is the output file name? What does it generate? It generates a file called as file.s. at least in GCC. Okay, it doesn't generate .o. Assembly file extension is .s. Okay, assembly file extension is .s. What is the extension of object file? What is the extension of object file? Object file extension is .o. So you need to be clear about this. Right, true. So most of you are aware of this. So object file, at least using GCC, it's .o. Sometimes you'll also see .obj also. Okay, on some other compilers, systems with a different compiler, you will see .obj also. Now, this is about assembly files. You can see automatically it's generating a file called as file.s. For file.c, it generates file.s. Let's say you want to change this output file name also. You don't like this file name. So we can do something like this also. GCC -s file.c. I can do -o. Let's say something like this. pr.s. So observe this. Okay. So I'm using -o option along with -s option also. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Last command. What do you think it will generate? So I used -s option. -s stand for generate assembly code. What is -o here? Rename assembly file. Correct. Sasha, Ramachandra, you're all right. Gautam, rename assembly file. So -o is used to give a name for the output file name. Output file name could be executable. Output file name could be assembly file. Output file name could be object file, etc. So -o does not mean executable name. -o means what? Output file name, or rename the output file name. That's what it is. CLURI, is it minus lowercase s or uppercase s? Can somebody tell me whether it's lowercase s or uppercase s? Yeah, it's uppercase s. Ramachandra, you're right. So whatever options we discussed, like -e and just to recall, -e, -s, -c is there, right? These three options are there. So these two options are in uppercase. -c is in lowercase, right? And -o, which is for output file name, is also in lowercase. Okay. -e is for preprocessing output, -s is for assembly, -c is for object code generation, -o is to rename the output file name. Okay. -o is not for compiling, etc. Next question. Let's move to the next question. Tapan, you are asking this question. -o, do you have to put in the last or the first? It can be anywhere, Tapan. Okay, because immediately after -o, what you give matters. Okay, so these type of parameters in general for commands are called as positional parameters. Okay, -o, immediately after that you have to give the file name. These are called as positional parameters in general. -e is to generate preprocessed output. Okay, preprocessed output. -s is for assembly. Discussed this yesterday. -c is for object code. Next question, that next one, -c generates object code, right? So only 55% got it right. So -c option can be used to generate object code. Fourth choice was linker links all object files and it also links to libraries. So this is correct. In fact, this is true. Linker will link all object or .o files, plus it will link to external libraries. For example, it will, if you call the function printf, printf is defined inside libc. So let me brief about that also. So typically the linker, right? Let's talk about linker here. So to understand the linker, let's assume there are two files, three files, a.c. Let's assume there is a file called as b.c. There is a file called as main.c. Now the question is, can we have three files together compiled together? Can we compile three files together? Or is it necessary that in C that you can create only one file and you have to compile it? Yeah, so you can have three files, all right? You can have multiple C files. So that's how we build projects actually. So when you work on projects, you can have multiple .c files, and all these .c files, C programs, can be combined together into a single executable, right? So a.c can have multiple functions, b.c can have multiple functions, main.c can also have multiple functions. Now, important thing to keep in mind is that when you're going to have multiple C files and combine it into a single program, we should have only one main function. Okay, we cannot have more than one main function. What will happen if we have multiple main functions, let's say in two different files? Is this allowed? Will the program compile? No, right? It won't compile. You'll get an error. Main is already defined error. Redefinition error will get. Now let's assume there are three files in a project, right? So can you tell me how the compilation will work? So we need to do something like this, right? We have to compile a.c first, then we have to compile b.c, then we have to compile main.c. Okay. So output of compilation, compiling each file, right? Each file will be compiled separately by GCC. A.c will get converted to a.o, b.c will get converted to b.o, and main.c will get converted to main.o. Finally, what happens is that all these three files are combined together by the linker, right? So that it becomes a single executable file. Just a minute, I'll be back. Yeah, I'm back. So linker will link all object files. That is the job of the linker. Now, apart from that, linker links all object files, right? Plus, what does linker do? If any of your functions are calling some external library functions, we need to link to those libraries also. So linker will link to external libraries also. This is the job of the linker, right? So when you say link to external libraries, it just adds a reference to that library, telling that, okay, we need to use libc, we need to use libm, or we need to use libpthread, etc. So this is the job of the linker. So finally, what gets created? An executable gets created. For example, a.out will get created. That's the job of the linker. So hope this is clear. So linker links all object files. Linker links to external libraries also. So that was the fourth choice. Then GCC minus I generates preprocessed output. That's not correct. GCC minus E generates preprocessed output. Then you can see here GCC minus E generates preprocessed output. So next question, what is the true with respect to functions and libraries? So only two answers are correct here. You can see header files contain function prototype and libraries contain function definition. Okay, so that is the correct answer. And another correct answer is to link to a library, we can use minus L XYZ option in GCC for library name libxyz.so. So we also discussed this. So remaining answers are invalid, in fact. Okay, so next question here. For this function declaration, the question is, you need to identify what type of parameter it is, whether it's input parameter, whether it's an output parameter, or whether it's an in-out parameter. So we discussed this in detail, and typically when you talk about output parameters, people think it has to be a pointer and it cannot be an input parameter. So if you observe here, the first question, only number is input parameter. Okay, that's not true. Second option is correct, right? Number and str2 are input parameters. str2, right? It's a constant pointer. So what does constant pointer mean? So constant pointer, what does it mean? Constant pointer means it is a input parameter. You cannot change the input. It cannot be changed. It's read only, correct? So it is an input parameter. So you cannot modify it. So num, which is used, which is passed by value, and str2, which is passed by a reference, but it's constant. So these two are input parameters. Third option, yeah, we cannot modify str2 here. str1 and str2 are output parameters. That is wrong. str1 is output parameter, but str2 cannot be modified. str2 is read only. We cannot change it. Input parameters must be passed using pass by. I have used here must here. Okay, please understand this. Input, it's not can actually. Input parameters must be is not correct. Input parameters can be passed using pass by value or by using constant pointers. Okay, or by using constant pointer. I think some of you got it wrong here. Last one, I think majority of you got it right. str1 can be str1 here can be an out parameter or an in-out parameter. We discussed about in-out parameters also, right? So it's an in-out parameter because it may contain a value and it can get modified also. So what's true about structures here? So I'll just discuss about the correct answers here. So structures can be passed using pass by reference, can only be passed I given here. That's not true. Structures can be passed by using pass by value and pass by reference. Both will work for structures. Okay, structures can be passed by value and by reference. Structures can be assigned to each other. It's true. I don't know why many of you got it wrong. It could be because you haven't attended that session. So structure, for structures, assignment operator works. A equal to B we can do. Okay, it's valid. It's efficient to pass structure by reference as less data needs to be copied. This is also true. So when you are talking about pass by reference, only address gets passed, whole structure will not get passed. So we will save time in terms of copying the data. We don't have to copy the entire, let's say the structure is some 1000 bytes long. So if it's passed by value, entire 1000 bytes has to be copied. If it's passed by reference, only the address needs to be copied, which could be a 4-byte value or which could be a 8-byte value. All right. So next question. This only 2 people got it right. Okay. So this I would say is a tricky question. So you need to have clarity on this. 2 out of 92 got this right. So first choice was syntax and semantic error occur during compile time. I think majority of you got it right. That's correct. Compile time error is caused because of syntax or semantic errors. Second option, null pointer dereferencing causes runtime error. I think that's also true. Maybe it is a mistake from my side actually. Okay, I didn't mark it in the answer. But it's not here. Null pointer dereference causes runtime error is correct. So sorry for that mistake. This option is right actually. Null pointer dereferencing causes runtime error. Maybe my intention was to mark it as compile time error. So this one answer needs to be corrected from my side. Then compiler checks for null pointer dereferences and throws segmentation fault during runtime. That's not true. Compiler does not check for null pointer dereferencing or segmentation faults. At compile time, compiler checks for logical errors. This is also not correct. Logical errors, who can catch? Who can catch the logical errors? Can somebody catch the logical errors? Logical error means what? No, logical errors is not CPU or semantics error. Logical error is errors which is because of programmer. True, Siddhartha, you're right. Okay, so programming error. For example, let's say I'm asking you to print. No, divide by 0 is not logical error. Okay, those are runtime errors. Those are exceptions. Divide by 0 is not logical. Logical error means error in logic. Your thinking is not correct. You're not thinking it right. You didn't have the right logic. Your solution is not correct. That's what logical error is. Let's say I ask you to basically write a program to reverse a string, and this string is not getting reversed. It's not getting reversed because your logic is not correct. Maybe it's printing the original string only, or it's reversing maybe only the first 2 bytes. So these type of errors wherein the programmer has written the code assuming that your logic is correct, but it's not giving the proper output. It's running, it's not throwing an exception. Such errors are called as logical errors. So when you have logical errors, it doesn't mean the program crashes. Okay, that's not true. Logical error typically means, yes, you have written the code assuming that your logic is correct, your algorithm is correct, but still you're not getting the output. Such type of basically errors are called as logical errors. It could be because of some silly mistake, or maybe the way you designed it is not correct. What about runtime errors? What is runtime error? So runtime errors are those errors which occur when the program you're running causes an exception. For example, you do a null pointer dereference, or you access an invalid address, pointer is not initialized, right? Or you try to modify a read-only memory. For example, if we have a constant string, you try to change a constant string, then also it throws an exception, or do divide by 0, etc. These are examples of runtime errors, exceptions we call it. Many such exceptions are there. Okay, but commonly we'll see divide by 0 error or segmentation fault. So this one, if you see, okay, examples of runtime error is there include segmentation fault and divide by 0. Logical errors and runtime errors are same. That's not true. Logical error is different from runtime error. Logical error is something which is like human errors, right? Programmer thought process is wrong. Last question. Linker is part of an operating system that is responsible for loading programs and libraries. No, linker does not load a program. Who loads a program? Loader is part of the operating system that is responsible for loading the program. So you need to know the difference between linker and loader. Linker will only perform linking. It generates the executable. That's the job of the linker. Loader will load the executable into RAM. Then third option is wrong. Last stage of compilation is loading is wrong. GCC is required. Okay, this I don't know why people selected this choice. GCC is required to be installed to run a program. No, not at all required. GCC is required only during compilation. While running, GCC is not required. Okay. So go through these questions once again. If you have any queries, you can ask. So today also I'll share you a quiz. Maybe later we can take up the quiz. Let's move on to the next topic here. Block variables. Sorry, we'll discuss about. We'll continue with global and static global. We discussed that global versus static global. Right. So we had a discussion yesterday towards the end. Maybe we'll continue with that. So I took an example. So global variable, what property? Variable has program scope, right? Program scope. So program scope means it can be accessed in all .c files. And static global has file scope. Can be accessed in same .c file. Right? We discussed this. Now let me take another example here so that you understand this. Let's say I have a file a.c, b.c, and main.c. And let's say I'm having a variable int x here is equal to 10. And I have main. Let's say in main, I'm printing x. Is this allowed? Will it work? Tapan, no, I think I repeated this multiple times, Tapan. Last stage of compilation is not loading. Last stage of compilation is linking. Assume x is global. Assume x is global. Can you access x inside another file? If it's no, you have to tell me why it's no. So most of you are telling yes. Some are telling it's possibly. Okay, no, we need to use external. Okay, true. So it's possible, but only thing we have to do is that we have to mention something here, right? What is that we need to mention? We need to inform the compiler something. So it's possible. Only thing is that we have to declare x as external, right? This is important. So external int x, that is necessary. If you don't do that, compiler will throw an error telling that x is not found. So this is the correct way to use a variable x. X you want to use it, which is defined inside some other file. So before you can use x, you need to declare the variable as constant. So this is called as declaration, right? Your declaration it is. This is called as definition. Variable definition. So what is the difference between declaration and definition? How many times x memory is allocated for x in this scenario? Once or twice? One for a.c, one for main.c. Does it happen, or only one memory location exists? Yeah, true. So most of you got it right. X is created inside data segment and x is initialized with 10, whereas the variable x, which is stored inside data segment, this is stored inside data segment, b.c can access, and main.c can also access, provided it's declared as external, right? That is something which you need to. So declaration and definition, the differences. When you say defining a variable, memory gets allocated for that variable, right? For example, I do int x is equal to 10. Compiler will allocate memory for that variable x. Whereas when you declare a variable using extern keyword, it means you want to access that variable which is already defined. That's what declaration means. Okay, declare typically in English means you're telling, announcing, right? You're notifying. That's what declaration means. So declaring a variable means you're telling the compiler, yeah, I want to use a variable x which is there somewhere else, right? You're telling it it's not here. You go and find where it is. You're telling compiler, you're asking the compiler to find it. You're not telling in which file also it is there, right? You're not instructing, okay, go to a.c and access that variable. So declaring a variable is done so that you can notify the compiler that, yeah, x is not here. X cannot be found in main.c. Go and check in some other file and fetch the variable x. That's what it means. So in one program, you can have only one variable x in the same scope. Okay, you cannot have multiple variables x in the same scope. In different scope, you can have two different x. So x is a global variable which can be accessed in all .c files. So I know this topic can be a little tricky. I'll show you with an example here. So one time define can be possible. If global variable has program scope, what is extern keyword required? So extern keyword is generally required to notify the compiler that that variable exists in some other file. It can also indicate that it exists in a library also. Okay, it's a little advanced thing. Okay, it's possible that, let's say in libc.so there is a global variable. You can access the variable from libc.so if you want. If that variable is global, you can access it. But you need to tell the compiler, yeah, it's there somewhere else. That somewhere else could be another .c file. Somewhere else could be a library also. Okay, that's why we need to declare it. Otherwise, compiler will not know whether it's defined inside that file or whether it's defined externally. It's for the compiler to know. Gautam, can we initialize a extern variable? Extern is a declaration, Gautam. You should not initialize it ideally. Okay, that's not the right way to do it. Again, in C, there are certain things which it ignores, for example. So, but you should not be doing it. The extern, when you use, memory will not be allocated for that variable. Okay, it's not recommended to initialize external variable because memory is not assigned for that. It will not get initialized also. So declaration, you're telling a use an existing variable. That's what it means. So I'll just define the meaning of extern keyword. Extern int x. What is the meaning of this? X, we are informing the compiler x is defined in another file. Use it. Okay. In one line definition, somebody asked you what does extern mean? Extern is used to declare a variable and notify the compiler that, yeah, that variable is there in another file. Use it. It's external. It's there in some other file. So let's have a look at an example here. Right. Sagar, ready? If variable is not declared, yes, definitely it'll throw an error. Okay, it's going to throw an error, and this error is called as linker error. I'll show you an example. Ashraf, we can include a.c file and main.c as header file. You should not be doing that. Okay, header file should not be .c file should not be included. Okay, .c file has to be compiled. User one, okay, I'll come to that. Static int x is equal to 10. Can you use the variable x using extern? No, you cannot. All these examples I'll show you. Then you can ask me more questions. By the way, I have shared all these programs in the Google Drive. You can go to the Google Drive and access these files also. Let me take extern as an example. Okay, let's open a simple example. Let's say there is math.c. Okay. So assume I have defined a variable math file in file math.c. I have defined a variable called as count. So count is a global variable here, right? What is the default value of global variables? Okay, screen I need to maximize. All right. Is it visible now? Yeah. So default value of global variable is 0, right? What is the default value of local variable? Is it 0 or junk, garbage value? Fine. So what is the default value of static local variable? 0, right? So anything which is stored inside stack is junk. Anything which is stored in data segment is 0. Right? So count is a global variable, right? This is a global variable. I'm using count in average function. This is a simple function here. Don't worry about what this is. This just finds the average of two numbers. The focus is not on the function here. But main is not defined here. Observe that. Okay, this file math.c contains a function average, and we defined a global variable count. Count is accessed inside this file. Let me open another file main.c. You can observe. So you have main.c here. Okay. Let me remove this. Okay. So do you think I can access the function variable count here? Is it allowed? Maybe I'll remove this also. Let me keep it simple. Can we access count here? Count is not defined inside main.c. It's defined inside some other file. No. So why we cannot access count here? What is that? What is missing? What is that we need to do here so that it works? Yeah, we need to declare using extern keyword. Declaration is missing. So let me compile this code. So how do you compile both the files together? I have to do gcc math.c and gcc main.c. Both I need to compile together. Let's observe what happens. Right, we got an error. So please observe that I'm compiling both the files together. Main.c contains main and math.c contains some other function. Now here you can observe the error. What does the compiler say? Count undeclared, it says. It's telling that I couldn't find the definition of count inside main.c. Maybe you forgot to define it. That's what it says. It is the job of the compiler, in fact. Right? In general, let's say when you're writing a program in main, let's say let's assume you're using a variable I. Now, if I is not defined, what will the compiler tell you? It will tell you that okay, I is undeclared. Please define it. That's what it says, right? Typically, the scenario is same here. Please understand the scenario is same here. So you are using a variable count. The compiler sees that no, it's not defined anywhere inside this file. So what will the compiler do? It does a simple reporting job. What does it do? It tells that okay, you forgot to define the variable count. That's what it says. Now, how do you tell the compiler? Okay, it's already existing. It's not that I forgot to define. It's there in some other file. You have to use the extern keyword. So I can say extern int count. So this is declaration, extern declaration, right? Please understand this. Memory is not allocated for count. It is just informing the compiler that yeah, it's there. Go and find it from another file. That's what it says. So let's compile this again. Previously got an error. Compile it again. No, there is no error. It works perfectly fine, right? Now, which segment is count stored? In BSS or in data segment? This count, is it stored in BSS or in data segment? It's not initialized. So where will it go? It will go to BSS, true. Okay, so any uninitialized data segment, which is BSS, it goes. So if it is initialized, it will go to data segment. Otherwise, it goes to BSS, which is uninitialized. Default value is 0. Now, let me maybe run this code again. Okay, I can see it's printing 0 as the output because we didn't change the value of count at all, right? It's printing 0. So we are able to access the value of count in some other file, right? So global variables, the property is that you can access it in all .c files within a program. Okay, there's no restriction on global variable. That's why it's called global. Now, let me show you an example here. The same code, math.c. Let's say I forgot to do this. What will happen? I didn't define count at all. Will the program compile? Pavani says error. What error will you get? Will it compile or will it work? Just declaration is enough or definition is also required? Gautam says linker error will get. Okay. Not defined error. Undeclared error. Okay. Question is, will you get a compiler error or linker error? You definitely will get an error because variable is not defined. Let's have a look at this. Okay. It's a little advanced concepts. Let me show you. Definition is necessary too. So what does this is say again? Maybe I'll see. It's giving an error, right? So typically you get an error which is linker error, but you're getting a compiler error also. Let me modify it a bit because I'm using it here also. So let me comment this also. I'll comment here. Okay. I'll recompile it again. So you get a weird, strange error here, right? Why it's weird? Because it's not similar to compiler error. So when you say compiler error, compiler will tell you exactly on which line there is error, which file there is error, which function there is error. So you see something different here. Okay, it's like something little cryptic, right? Looks like little cryptic. It's showing the address, something it shows. But finally, it's giving a message. Undefined reference to count, right? There is a message getting. So this error is from a program called as LD. LD is the linker on Linux. Okay, so linker will resolve symbols in the end. Okay, linker does something called symbol resolution in the end. That means it will try to find all the variables are existing or not, whether all the functions which are referring exist or not, etc. That's what the job of the linker. Now, to keep things simple, if you declare a variable as extern and the variable is not defined, you will get a linker error. You will not get a compiler error. So compilation succeeded. You told the compiler, yeah, it's there, don't worry. That's what you told, right? You're telling the compiler that extern int count. You're informing the compiler it exists somewhere else. The compiler will assume that it exists. When you say compiler will assume that it exists, it will assume that it exists in two places, in fact. Okay, so let me tell you why this error is coming. So compiler assumes that the symbol or variable, okay, symbol in terms of compiler terminology, symbols terminology means symbol typically means a variable or a function name. It's called as a symbol in compiler language. Okay, so here count, right? Count is a variable. Now, when you are telling count is external, compiler will assume that count is there in some other file. It will also assume that count is there in library. This assumptions the compiler will make. Now, when you talk about libraries, it is the job of the linker to link to libraries. The compiler does not come into picture here. So compiler assumes that, yeah, it could be there in a library, and linking to the library is not the job of the compiler. So it will leave it to the linker to resolve that symbol. Who is going to resolve the symbol? Linker will link to library, and if the variable is inside the library, it will use it. So compiler's job is done midway actually. Okay, compiler will not resolve symbols. Symbol resolution will be done during linking, assuming that, okay, that variable is there externally. That's the assumption. That's why you're not getting compiler error, you're getting a linker error. Now, if you're not understood this much, it's okay, but fundamentally you have to know that that variable should be defined somewhere, right? If the variable is not defined, you'll get an error. So Shivaraj is asking me to open both the files. I'll show you both the files. Have a check. Main.c, math.c. Okay, you can check. Visible now? Compare. So here I commented this. So variable is not defined. Variable is declared here, which is not okay. Simply declaring is not enough. Definition should also be there. The correct way is to do this. Okay, both definition and declaration should exist. Hope it's clear. I have more answers. I'm making note of those questions, Chaitra, like two multiple file scenarios, etc. I'll come to that. Now, fundamentally, okay, in interviews they may ask you so many questions, but when you actually work on projects, you have to think like a programmer, right? Okay, I have 3 or 4 or 5 files. Then you define a global variable. How can I use it in other files? Simple thing is use an external declaration and use that variable. Now this is more often used for functions, the external keyword. It's also used for variables, but it's more often used for functions also. So let me take an example of function. Then we'll discuss about answering your questions. Let's say I'm having math.c, right? So this we're talking about global functions. All right, we're talking about functions which are global. So math.c contains a function average. Nothing particular about it. It's just a function which finds the average of two numbers. That's math.c. and main.c will call this function. That's all. Okay. So in main, we are calling the function average. But average is not defined in main.c. It's defined inside some other file. So let me open it together. Clear? So tell me whether this program will compile. Let me compile. Let's say if I compile both of them together, will the program compile and will you get the correct output? Is the question. You have to give a reason. If yes or no, what is the reason it will not compile, for example. If it compiles, also you can give a reason. So can I call a function which is defined inside some other file? Yes, we can. Okay, functions by default are global, right? We can define a function in another file. I can call it. In fact, that's what you do with built-in functions. No, where is it defined? It's there some other place. It's there inside the library. So let me compile this. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's observe what happens. GCC math.c and main.c together. But we're getting a warning here. Right, we are not getting an error, but we are getting a warning here. So what is it telling? This is a very common warning. When do you get this warning? Yeah, prototype is missing. True, right? So this warning comes because prototype is missing, right? Typically, we at times we forget to include header file. We get the same error. So compiler is clearly giving a warning that function prototype is missing, but it did not give an error. Why it did not give an error? It did not give any error, in fact. Is it okay to just throw a warning and continue? Yeah, assumption is that if the prototype is not given, compiler assumes all parameters to be of integer type. It also assumes the return value as integer type. Okay, so that is what the compiler will assume. So default prototype. Okay, what is the default prototype the compiler will always assume? Default prototype, it assumes that all the arguments are integer, and let's assume we have a function, return type is integer. That's the assumption of the compiler. This is the assumption, default prototype. Okay, so compiler will make this assumption, but if the assumption is not matching, what will happen? Will the program run properly? Yeah, the error, there will be a mismatch in the output actually. Okay, so you're telling it's integer, but you're passing double. Integer is 4 bytes, double is 8 bytes. There's a value in the mismatch. Narendra, there is no compile time error. You observe this? No, there is no compile time error here. Okay, we compile the program. There is no error. It's warning. We are discussing why it's a warning. So you will not get the correct output if the function is passing some other argument type. If the function is passing integer type and the function is returning integer, it will work. Let's run the program. A.output. exe. What is the output? We're getting 15 as the output. So what should I be in the output? Output should have been 7.5, right? 5 and 10 we are passing. 15, sum of 5, we are doing sum divided by 2. Output should have been 7.5. So how do you fix this? Okay, you need to tell the compiler that, okay, the function is declared in some other file, and the best way is just do a copy paste, right? Just do a yy p, declare it as extern. Okay, so now will the program work? Now we declared the function prototype here, plus we mentioned it is external. So it means that average function is there in some other file, right? It's declared here as extern, so it's there in some other file, use it. Now let's compile this. Let's see what happens. So previously we got a warning. Now we don't have any warning. Let's run the program. Yeah, we got the correct answer now, 7.5. Right. So extern is, the purpose of using extern is to inform the compiler that the variable or the function exists in some other file. And especially for functions, it's very important, because if you don't declare it as extern, it'll assume the function is having integer parameter types and you'll not get a correct output. Clear? The need for extern declaration with respect to global variables and functions. Okay, now let me take maybe some more examples so that you're more clear. So this program, let me modify it a bit. Math.c, I'll change the previous one, math.c. Okay, so we have here count. I'll initialize it. I'll declare it as static. So we have two files, main.c and math.c. Main.c is declaring count as extern. That means it's defined in some other file, right? So in this case, math.c, we did a small change. Count is now static. So what does static indicate here? What will happen if you define a global variable as static? So what is the difference between global and static global? Difference is in scope. Yeah, Ganesh, Ashraf, yeah, Surat, B, Monisha, yeah, you're all right. So we declared this count variable as static. That means count can be accessed only in that file, right? We cannot access count outside math.c. Okay, so we have count defined inside math.c. We cannot use it outside math.c. Now some people may argue that here, okay, you have declared it as extern, right? Can we use it? No, we cannot use it. Let's see what happens when you compile this. So static global variables cannot be accessed outside the file it's defined. So from main.c, I cannot access count. Let's compile this. Let's see whether we get an error or not. Yeah, we'll get a linker error again, right? It's telling that undefined reference to count. Okay, so count is defined as static, but we cannot access count from another file because it has file scope. Hope this is clear. Okay, anybody has any questions? So it has file scope. Difference is clear. Okay, now I think I had some questions. Let me walk through the questions. Questions are buried. Maybe those who posted the question, you can post it again. Okay, two questions I have. Can we declare function prototype in the same file and function definition exists? Is this case extern keyword is not required? It's not required actually. Yeah. So by default, okay, let me tell you that. Okay, I'll do this. So let me go to this main. Let me open this. Okay, so here you can see. So one of the question was, okay, can we do this? Will it work? Is extend keyword required or optional for function prototypes? Okay, I removed the extend keyword in the prototype. It's a prototype. Will the program compile is the question, or is it necessary to declare as extern? So I'm getting answers. Optional, it will work from Ganesh, Tapan. By default, it's extern. True. So correct answer, what Rohit mentioned is, by default, in case of function prototypes, right, it is considered to be extern. It's not necessary to declare the function prototype as extern. So you miss this part, it will still compile. Okay, it's not necessary to make it as extern. You can see here it compiles. So default compiler will add the extend keyword. Sachin, can you demonstrate use of extern more than 3 files? Okay, I'm showing in 2 files here. I'll show for 3 maybe. Okay, I'll show with an example of header file concept. So let me close this maybe for now. So you can see there are 3 files here. Can you see, all of you? Main.c, mat.c, test.c. Let me open test.c. All right, and let me open. So test.c contains a test function. It's calling average. That's all. Okay, nothing special about it. Now let me open main.c. Main.c, and let me open mat.c. So there are 3 files here. So mat.c we have seen it contains the average function definition, and main.c contains main function. Main function is calling average function. There is one more function, test, which is defined inside test.c. So test function is also calling average, and main function is also calling average. Now since average is defined inside some other file, you can see what is done on both the files in the beginning. Extern function prototype is declared. This is the correct way, right? So wherever you want to call the function average, in that file you have to declare the prototype as extern. Now let's say there are like many such functions. Now we are using one function, right? Let's say 10 functions are there. What will happen? We'll end up basically having the prototype declared inside all the files wherever you want to use it. So it will be little tedious process, right? Everywhere I have to copy paste the prototype in all the files wherever you want to use it. So this is not good method, but this works. Is that clear? Did you understand that? So wherever you want to use the function, you have to declare it as extern. But this is not the recommended method. Okay, so wherever, it's not about prototype must be in main file. No, the one that's not correct. So you can see prototype, I'm declaring inside test.c. because average is called here. Wherever you are calling it, in that file it should be there. So this way of basically declaring a prototype is not recommended because it's time consuming. This works, by the way. Okay, it's not recommended, but it works. Let me show the correct way of doing it. So correct way is using header files. Okay, now extra file I have created, which is a header file, math.h. Okay, and we can do something like this. So whichever functions will be used in other files, what you have to do, you have to put the prototype in that header file. Okay, so header file will contain only prototypes. So example, I just took these two as an example, average function and test function. Let's assume there is another function called test, and these functions you want to call it in other files. So whichever functions you want to make it reusable, declare those function prototypes inside a header file. Then in your C files, you can directly call them. Now if you can see here in main.c, this is main.c, I have included mat.h. What is the reason of including mat.h? Can you tell me? Why did we include mat.h? What does it contain? Yeah, Karthik M says it contains prototype, right? So it contains a function prototype. So function prototype is there inside mat.h. Observe, I did not explicitly declare the prototype here. We did not declare the prototype explicitly here because mat.h contains the function prototype. Let me open, this is main.c also, sorry, math.c also. So math.c you can observe here, average function is there. If you want, you can include the header file here also, math.h also, no problem. So wherever you want to use it, as well as wherever you defined it, you can include the header file math.h because it contains a prototype. Similarly, I have another file called as test. So you can see here also we have included mat.h. So what is the correct way to use a function? Correct way to use a function which is global is declare the prototypes inside a header file, include the header file in .c files. Then you can call those functions. So code is not changing much. Only thing is the header file needs to be included. So this is the recommended way of using global functions. I hope I answered your question. Somebody asked this question. Narendra, if we define same variable as global in two files and getting external the same variable from third file, no, that doesn't work, Narendra. Two variables with the same name, the same scope is not allowed. Any other question? Including twice, will it throw an error? Is it not? Okay, including twice, in case of prototype, it's okay. Yes, we need to add a hashif end of guard there. Okay, I just made this for the sake of simplicity. I didn't put a hash end of a guard. Yeah, ideally you have to put a hashif end of guard there in any header file. So let me paste the quiz link so that people can access it. I'm just pasting it because towards the end people forget. I'm not closing the session now. Maybe I'll continue for some more time. This link is for quiz 2. You can copy it, you can take it later. Don't take the quiz now. Okay, I'm getting many questions. I'll answer this question before I move on. Including to I, okay, where is that? Okay. Can we declare variable in header file? Yeah, we can declare variable in header file, but you should not define it. Extern declarations. When you say Gautam, your question is valid. Extern declaration can go inside global variables, not definitions. Definition should not go inside header files. Declaration can go inside header files. Multiple definition of same variable is an error. Multiple definitions of the same variable in the same scope is an error. Different scope will not throw an error. Arun. So I'll show an example of block variable maybe. So block variables, let me take an example. So what will be the output of this code? Will this program compile? So what type of variable is y? Yeah, y is a block variable. Y is a block variable, we call it. You don't use the term local variable. Yeah, in fact it's local, but the more correct answer is block variable. Will this program compile or will it throw any error? Some are telling Kavya has some compiler error. Why will you get a compiler error here? Any reason? Why error? What is the reason you think it's error? Asha, Karthik, Surabhi are telling it will print 1000. Yeah, this one is perfectly fine. There is no compiler error. Okay. Variable y is called as a block variable. Y is a block variable. It's initialized with 1000 and will print the value as 1000. Notice here line number 20 is commented. Okay, this line is commented. So where can we access this variable y? Where can y be accessed? What is the scope of the block variable? Scope of the block variable is inside the block. You can access is only inside the block. So I can access y from here to here, right? So y can be accessed only inside this block. Now if we try to access y after the block, what will happen? Will this work? No, we'll get an error. Undefined, undeclared error, compilation error will get. So y cannot be accessed outside the block. Let's compile this code. GCC block variable. You're getting this error. It says y is undeclared. It's not possible to access that variable. I hope it's clear. So if I comment this, it will work, right? Y should not be accessed outside the block. Let me recompile it by commenting this line which caused the error. I'll say GCC program. Now it is compiling. Tapan, I ask you to take the test later, Tapan. Not now, after the session. All right. So /a.out, I am basically running the program, and you can see the output. It's 1000. Let me take another example. Okay, you can have a look at this. So what do you think will be the output of this code? Will this program compile? Or will it give an error telling that X is redefined? I'm getting answers. Yeah, it will compile. Yes. Sujit says answer is 1010. Will compile. No error. Compile. Sonari says 1010. Yeah. No error. All right, it will compile. So notice here, this question is like asked some time back. Question was, can we define two variables with the same name? Yeah, you can define two variables with the same name. Here you can see X is a local variable, right? Whereas inside the block, we have defined another variable X with the same name. Now, question is, will the compiler get confused and throw an error? No, compiler will not throw any error here. There is no error because this variable X has local scope. Where can you access the variable X which is defined locally? You can access it inside the function main. But this variable X is defined as a block variable. Now you'll have two variables. One variable X which is created inside the stack of main function, but it has function scope, and another variable X which has block scope. So which variable will be accessed inside the block? Local variable X or block variable X? So inside the block, the variable X which is defined on line number 14 will be accessible. Block variable X will be accessible. But outside the block, for example here, which variable will be accessible? Local variable will be accessible. So variable, when you try to access, the variable with the closest scope will be accessible. Okay, this is true for global and local, etc. I'll take another example, but in this context, here when you access X, it's going to be block variable, whereas outside the block we try to access is going to be local variable. So output will be, you can see the output. It's going to be X equal to 1000, which is block variable X. Then after the block, X is equal to 10, which is local variable X. Now this is true for any combination. Please understand this. Okay, means any combination. I'll show you some of the combinations. Okay, some combinations of variable with the same name. Let's assume there is a variable in a file, int X is equal to 10, and in main, assume main, I'm defining another variable, int X is equal to 5, and I'm using X here, printf X. Which one will it pick here? Local variable X or global variable X? or will it give a compilation error telling that X is already defined? Will you get a redefinition error? Yeah, we don't get any error here, right? So that's what I mean by you can define variables with the same name. X is a variable, right? You're defining X globally, you're defining X locally. Now, will the compiler throw any error here? No, no error here. It's not going to throw any error here. We will not get any error here. So two variables can be defined with the same name, but they should be in a different scope. An innermost variable with a lesser scope will be taken always. When you say lesser scope, function a local variable has the lesser scope. Closer scope, you can say. Sorry, variable with a closer scope will be taken. Any other question? Okay. Now let's move on. We'll take another example here. Let's say we'll talk about constant pointers. You can try to answer these questions. So you have to tell me what is the difference between these two. Const int star ptr is equal to. So you have to tell me which of the operations are valid. So tell me in this, which operations are allowed. Okay, maybe I'll simplify the question for you. You have to tell me which one is constant. In this declaration, const int star ptr, a ptr is constant, b star ptr is constant. A or b. Okay, I'm getting a lot of answers. Majority are telling the answer is B. That's correct, right? So when you say const in star PTR, B, star PTR is constant. Okay, star PTR is constant here. So what is meant by star PTR is constant here? What do you mean by star PTR is constant? Value at PTR is constant. Okay, value is constant. Whose value? So this is more of a compiler semantical rule which is used to tell that, yeah, you can store the address of a variable, or you can store the address of some register, but you cannot change the value of that variable or register by using the pointer, right? The star PTR is constant, that's what it means. So this is correct, right? So star PTR is constant. What does it mean? You cannot change star PTR, or cannot change value pointed by PTR. You cannot change the value pointed by PTR. So this is one of the most commonly used pointer types, right? There is one more. What is the other way? Other way of declaring. So other way of declaring is, you can say int const, int star const PTR. So what is constant here? Choice A, PTR is constant. Choice B, star PTR is constant. Yeah, the answer is A, which is PTR is constant here. So what does PTR is constant mean? You cannot change the variable PTR here. Variable PTR contains an address, cannot change the address here. That's what it means. So which one is commonly used? This declaration or the previous one? Which one do you use commonly? Previous, right? The previous declaration is commonly used. Pavan, yeah, you're right. So we don't see this much often. This is rarely seen. This declaration is very rarely seen. But if you do some low-level microcontroller based programming, wherein you want to have something called as a fixed register address, then you use this pointer declaration. Now, can you answer this now? So will this work? Yes or no, you can say. I'll write. Line number 7, will it compile or not? Allowed or not? Yeah, this is allowed, right? This one is allowed. Next, line number 9, allowed or not allowed? No. Why? Because star PTR is changing here. You cannot change star PTR, right? What about this? This is a little tricky. Line number 11. Yes or no? What is changing here? Which one has higher precedence? Now there are two operators, star and plus plus. Now let me write the expansions for this. You have to tell me what is the correct expansion. A, expansion is star PTR plus plus. B, expansion is PTR plus plus star. How will the grouping happen according to the precedence? Okay, I'm getting mixed answers here. Some are telling A, some are telling B. Okay, a lot of answers, but it's kind of 50-50. A, B, A, B. Okay. Now, if you don't know, what will you do? Let's say you don't know. What is that you need to do here? There is star operator, there is plus plus operator. Both are unary operators, right? So if star has higher precedence, does star, in case of unary operators, what is the precedence rule? Can somebody tell me? Unary operator, what is the precedence rule? So in case of unary operators, all unary operators have equal precedence. Okay, unlike binary operators, all unary operators have equal precedence. What will differ? Associativity differs. Associativity is right to left. All right. So in this case, star is also unary operator, plus plus also unary operator. Then you have to apply associativity. So right to left associativity, when you say, the answer is basically B. Right. This is how it gets grouped. So star of PTR plus plus. Now is this statement valid or not? Will it compile? Yes, because what's happening? Address is incrementing, PTR is changing, value is only fetched here, value is not changing, right? Value is only fetched here, address is changing. So this is okay, this works. Okay, this works. What about this? Line number 13, will it work? Yes, this will also work. What about this line number 15, last one? PTR of 0 is equal to 5. What is changing? It will not work. Value is changing, right? It's similar to star PTR is equal to 5. So this will not work. Okay. So what about this? Will this work? Last one, line number 17. No, it will not work. What is changing? What is this equivalent to? What is the same as doing? Same as doing? They're incrementing what? Increment star PTR. That's what it means. This means increment star PTR. So this won't work. No, this is invalid. Right? So these type of questions you can expect in interviews also. So when you get these type of questions, just keep in mind, right? This slide, right? So you can say, okay, when you say const in star PTR is constant. You can change the variable PTR, address you can change, but you cannot change star PTR. So why is it allowed to modify constant variable using pointer in C? Duan, these things are little dependent on the compiler also. It depends upon which segment it is stored also. Okay, so it will work for constant local variables. It doesn't work for constant global variables. You can try. So compiler to compiler will differ. If you take an old compiler like a Turbo C, it will allow to change the constant global variable also. But if you take compiler like GCC, it will not allow you to modify a constant global variable because it's stored inside code segment. Okay, so these things sometimes they are compiler dependent. That's why I did not discuss it much. So GCC stores the constant global variables inside code segment. Code segment is read only. Constant local variables are stored inside stack. Stack is not read only. Hope I answered your question. So maybe I'll stop the session for today. Okay. So tomorrow we'll continue. So meanwhile, you can take up the quiz. It's a simple quiz. You can take up the quiz. And if you have any doubts, you can always ask. So thank you all. Thank you all for attending the session. We'll continue tomorrow also with the session, and then I'll update you on what we'll be doing in the next week. So don't forget to take up the quiz. Meghamala, we can use extern and const at the same time. Const simply is a qualifier which tells you that, okay, variable cannot be changed. There is no relationship between extern and const at all. You can define a global variable as const also. Asurabi, yeah, tomorrow I'll focus only on pointers. So I just started today with pointers. Tomorrow we'll focus mostly on pointers. Ensure that all of you take up the quiz. All right. I'll stop the recording.